Oh, baby, baby.
Hello, welcome to the Alcove, as it's kind of a better name than the Axiom. I'm the Wolf,
I'm Daddy-O.
and this is Wanna Wrestle
Wrestle.
6.
Number 6 episode. We're getting these out. We're getting them done.
We're getting them done.
Trying to get them out.
just need to edit and upload. Actually, no, I just need to upload. That one's already been edited.
Okay, so we're ready for that. So this is our weekly or semi-weekly AEW review and reaction podcast. Big fans of All Elite Wrestling, although we need some more merch, I guess.
We do.
Did you make that vlog with the belt and all that?
It's not edited.
We need to put it attach it to this one.
Possibly.
We went on a road trip to because AEW figures are supposed to be Walmart exclusive. We went to our local Walmart, struck out.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the Young Bucks themselves have struck out trying to find the figures of themselves. We did find
a title belt.
Well, we found shelf or hangers where the figures are supposed to be. Matter of fact, they had a 4 or 6 figure assortment for like $20 or something.
Yeah, it was 6 figures in 1997.
And then they had and they also had a AEW replica of the world title.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna see what we can do to get some of that stuff to add to the Wolf Den inside when we do our next.
Yeah, or possibly the alcove.
Maybe
get like
a belt.
Dude, I could get a mannequin right here, strap a T-shirt and the belt on it.
We need to go to that JCPenney final closeout, right?
Yeah.
So Dark 54 is what we're going to cover first. It opened with Sean Spears going to the commentary table. This is to build a feud between him and Scorpio Sky.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like that feud?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's interesting. I don't know what started it. Like, I guess they just don't get along.
From the melee, I think, last week.
Possibly.
Well, and then here's the thing too: is remember Scorpio Sky though came out and said he wants to be in the singles scene, and he's tired of being overlooked. He was done with tag teams, so that was supposed to put Daniels and Kazarian back together, and I think they did it like one time.
Mm-hmm.
Now Sky's back with Kazarian again, and Daniels is on the outs, and on being the elite, he cut a promo about what he's gonna do next. He doesn't know what he's gonna do next. But Scorpio Sky, even though he's partnering with Kazarian, he's getting mind games from Sean Spears. Sean Spears on commentary. He didn't put him over during commentary or anything like that. Basically, he was just there. And they said that, and I didn't really notice it, but they said that Sky was distracted and kept looking over at him.
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
I didn't notice it either. They looked pretty focused, and they whipped a lot of ass. So
yeah, matter of fact, I forgot that match was newcomers. It was Scorpio Sky, Ryzen. Now you remember Ryzen? Now that you've seen him again?
Well, I don't remember him. I remember seeing him last night or 2 nights ago.
Yeah, and then he was with the new guy making a debut. Guy named Ray Rosas.
Yeah, and they put them together as a tag team.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, this is where the new guys get their shot. Ryzen's pretty. I guess he's been around for a while in the independent scene. I think he's from SoCal. We found out that probably a lot of the SoCal guys on the indies work for Excalibur's promotion, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. So they've got a pool of guys to pick from all the time, which is cool, which is good for business right there. Sky and Kazarian did pick up the win, but there was more back and forth between him and Spears, which carried over into the next night. But he wasn't at the commentary table.
Sounds Spears not as good as Chris Jericho on commentary.
Well, he wasn't there to do commentary. Now, somebody else that wasn't as good headed to the commentary table after that was Starks.
Oh, yeah, Starks. That was...
And him and...
Taz.
Yeah, him and Taz is just like... Yeah. Taz and Excalibur are funny as hell because they got ribs on each other, and it's so funny. Starks trying to be funny, but his voice is kind of wimpy. And so for being a big, tough dude, he's got like a weenie voice. And
Right.
he's like really quiet. His way he's talking. He talks like this. It's like,
No, but he's a good wrestler.
oh, yeah, great wrestler.
But
like I said, when I saw him in NWA, I'm like, this dude's a star. But his commentary is terrible.
aha.
Um, and then we got Penelope Ford, who's ranked number 4
Mm-hmm.
in the women's division, and against Alex Gracia making her debut. And I did remember that Alex Gracia is actually the former in Booker T's promotion, Reality of Wrestling.
Mhm.
Their women's division is called the Diamond Division. So she's the former Diamond champion, Alex Gracia, who had a good showing against Ford, but they're pushing Ford. I'm going to admit, Penelope Ford has gotten marginally better.
Mm-hmm.
I still think her wrestling is garbage. And if you're working with somebody that you don't know and they're a better wrestler, they're trying to figure out a way to make you look good. It's kind of
Mhm.
hard when you're on this level and Penelope Ford is down here, Alex Rossi is up here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard to make the match look good. Yeah.
You know, that reminds me. Does AEW have a name for their women's division?
No.
They just call it, yeah.
They're just calling it the women's division. But Ford picked up the win, of course.
Mm-hmm.
That brings her record though to 10-7.
10-7.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like she's wrestled 17 matches, does it?
I mean, I don't really keep track, but yeah.
Well, I mean, do the math.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't keep track every time I see her. Oh, this is match 17.
Well, but it is now. So
Actually, now it's 11 and 7.
no, I wrote it in as her record
Oh.
going out, not coming in.
Got a text
We
message.
had the best friends come out on Dark. Now we started calling Chucky T. We started calling him Little
JBL.
JBL because somebody brought that up. It looked just like him, but I didn't know that I guess one of his gimmick nicknames is the Kentucky Gentleman. I've heard JR call him that twice now, and but I like Little JBL better. Best friends went against Bishop King and Mbadu.
Yeah, and that was good. They didn't best friends didn't squash them. They actually got in there and was wrestling, and they had to figure out how to deal with. Is it Umba?
Mbadu is like a terrible
No,
name.
I'm just trying to. He was the stronger one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
Bishop King was actually pretty good too. They were
but
probably pretty evenly.
They had said that they're like, because one of them's bigger, and they're like, oh, they had to contend with his strength because Trent Beretta is like the strong man for best friends, but even he was having trouble. So
yeah.
But I don't remember.
A couple of good guys, a couple of good newbies. I like Mbadu. He just needs a better name. It's some kind of African heritage.
Well, they were saying that he's from Nigeria.
That's what I said. Some kind of African heritage thing.
Yeah.
I don't like the name. And Bishop King, I don't remember where he was from. But the best friends did pick up that win. Next was some Dark Order action.
Mm-hmm.
Our favorite faction right now in all of wrestling.
Of course, my back starts itching.
Jurassic Express went against 5 and 10.
Yeah, I called that match unfair because both teams. Well, I want
both of them to win.
Yeah, I want Jurassic Express to win. It's my favorite tag team, and I want Dark Order to win because that's their gimmick. And with them losing, their gimmick loses credit. And the only one that's looking strong right now is Brody Lee.
No, the only one that's looking strong is Anna Jay.
That's true, Anna Jay.
But so this was 10 is Preston Vance and 5 is Alan Angels, who now have been thrown together as this team, and they were white.
Mm-hmm. Well, because Brody Lee gave 10
his original white jacket.
Yeah.
And so, but Alan Angels now has had one made for him. And 5, Alan Angels, dude, that dude is. It's a weird comparison to make, but he's probably the better wrestler in the entire Dark Order for what he does for ground and pound and speed and stuff like that. He's probably the best wrestler in the whole faction, I think. Although Grayson and Uno are my favorite, tag teams, but singly, by himself,
yeah.
Angels is great. So him and Preston Vance, it's kind of wonky as a tag team to me, and maybe to the rest of the company because Jurassic Express picked up the win, which made you happy but not happy.
Happy but not happy.
Happy but sad.
Yeah, because I mean, again, I want Jurassic Express to win, favorite tag team, but Dark Order's whole gimmick is stop losing, start winning, join the Dark Order, and then they lose, and it's like, why though?
Right. They should be totally dominant all the way to take all the titles.
They should have John Moxley's undefeated streak, each and every one of them. Now that may seem a little too much, but that's the point.
That was their point. Captain Sean Dean, who's like 0-13 now, something like that, 0-20, I don't know. He hasn't won a match. Captain Sean Dean with this new dude, that Brazilian dude. His name is Cesar Bonani. That dude is huge, man.
Going against
cut and good look on him.
He's about the same size as Austin or Billy Gunn.
Yeah, because they did go against the Gun Club, Austin and Billy, and Bonani and Gunn met head to head. Now the thing about Bonani though is he's slim and trim. He's still got a neck. Billy Gunn is just like a rock sitting on top of his shoulders, his head.
Right.
But he's huge, man. When they were standing like that side by side, Billy Gunn is just a beast. And he's probably in his 50s, early 50s, I think. Whew, man, he can still go. It's funny because of people talk about older wrestlers. They need to get out of the way so the newer guys can come through. But the newer guys ain't built like these dudes, man. And they can still hold their own. Now, some older wrestlers have overstayed their welcome. Undertaker. And who else was I thinking of? Maybe Undertaker and Goldberg. But some of them can still go because they're consistent. Other guys that are older take a year off between matches.
And also some older guys won't get the young talent over.
That too.
Other people are. Other older wrestlers like Jericho. He said, "Yeah, if I need to, I'll get people over."
Yeah, he'll put over whoever they want to put over, which is what we'll talk about that when we get to it, about the new guys that he's been working with. The Gun Club, of course, picked up the win because, like I said, Sean Dean hasn't won a match. But bless his heart for showing up. But that's kind of going to get frustrating when what I think we talked about before with Sean Dean. It's somebody like Sean Dean who's 0-12 at least has been there for 12 matches, 12 weeks. So he's been there like 3 months. Will Hobbs, boom, 3 matches and straight to the top.
Right. Yeah.
But he's a huge, huge dude. And he's got a great personality. He's got a great, you see him and you go, oh, shit,
And Luke Hobbs
Will Hobbs.
Willpower is getting getting a smaller gut every time we see him. He just keep getting more muscle every time.
And then next it was a women's division match with Tai Conti.
But that's not Brazilian. That's not a Brazilian accent.
No, she's Spanish though.
Yeah, but she's.
And when what's his name pronounced it, he pronounced it Conti instead of Conti because he put the Spanish inflection on. Against your favorite.
Yeah, no, her gimmick doesn't make any sense.
Straight out your mama's kitchen.
Whatever.
Stirring it up. Red velvet. And Tai Conti picked up the win and celebrated with Anna Jay.
Yeah, so that's a weird angle because like several weeks ago now, Anna Jay offered the contract or made the offer to join the Dark Order.
She had the contract in the envelope.
And so Tai Conti hugged her.
Well, she picked it up.
Yeah.
She took the contract. She nodded yes. And then they jumped up and down and hugged each other. And they left together. Next thing you know, it's still pending.
If she's in the
if she's in the Dark Order or not, which they're trying to say is same with Boom Boom Cabana.
Yeah, but he hasn't said yes. We know that for sure. There's a difference between being there and feeling if you want to live or not live there, but if you want to stay there versus nodding yes and hugging your partner,
right,
and then
leaving with the whole entire entourage.
yeah,
Matter of fact, it was Evil Uno had the contract and handed it to Anna Jay, who
hmm
handed it to Ty Conti. After that was, and I like these guys. We had Griff Garrison, Jungle Man,
yeah,
and
the older looking Jungle
the
Boy.
older version of Jungle Griff Garrison. He's been put together now with Brian Pillman Jr. for a couple of weeks.
hmm
I like him. I like him as a good young tag team. These guys are going to be ready pretty soon. Brian Pillman Jr.'s got the nostalgia factor because of his dad, but he's come into his own. He's a really good wrestler. He's solid. He is enhancement talent right now, but I think that's going to be over with pretty soon, which is going to make their tag roster even freaking deeper with talent.
hmm
They're going to have to cut somebody loose. I
There's
don't know. There's got to be a tag team that's not happy right now, and that they got to go. I don't know who it is.
I don't think anybody's upset over there.
No, but I mean, yeah. Uh, and then a second women's division match, which was the Vicious Vixens,
hmm
was Vicky Guerrero with Nyla Rose. And,
Well, that wasn't a tag match.
right, 9 to 10.
Oh.
They just had another women's
Oh,
match.
okay. I thought
So
you said
Nyla
tag.
Rose went against the new and improved Rochelle Chanel with her blonde hair now. Rochelle Chanel is, I don't think she's entirely a comedy gimmick,
hmm
but she uses some comedic elements, like when she does that weird prance thing that she,
hmm
you know what I mean, right?
Right. Yeah.
She does her weird prance and then comes back with a boot.
And she kicked the cameraman.
She kicked the cameraman, and Nyla Rose's face, she missed Nyla Rose's face by a pretty good, considerable margin.
But didn't miss the cameraman who was
Because the camera's like right here, and Nyla Rose like turned, and you see the foot like way over here, but then it went right into the camera lens, kicked the cameraman upside his face. Rochelle Chanel is another one. Like I had noted before, Rochelle Chanel, Red Velvet, um, who else? There was like a whole slew. Evilise, even. There's like a whole slew of them that weren't wrestling very well. But as soon as they announced the women's tournament, like the next week, they were all like up 3 levels
hmm
and doing good. Shay Chanel was probably going to make the main. Well, she did make the main show, right? No, it was.
She was at ringside
Yeah.
on Dynamite, and she jumped in the melee, but that was
Yeah.
about it.
And then closing out Dark 54 was the Dark Order against the Natural Nightmares.
Which the Natural Nightmares won, right?
Yes, they did. And it
Yeah.
was against Uno and Grayson.
No, or no, it was Cabana on the main show.
I think it's on the main show. I think I wrote that one down for sure. I just wrote Dark Order, so I'm guessing it was Grayson and Uno. And Natural Nightmares picked up that win, getting revenge for the stuff that they did to Cody.
Which apparently doesn't matter. Nor does Cody even acknowledge them, nor do they acknowledge Cody.
Well, and he has said a couple of times though, "Where's my family at? Do we even have a family? Is there still an elite?" He's mentioned it a couple of times. And before we go on to before we go to Dark, the main episode, the main program of Dynamite, a little bit of news. Matt Cardona's gone.
Well,
He
not
came
completely.
in and he came. Well, he's not under any contract.
Neither is Rey Mysterio. What's your point?
No, Rey Mysterio resigned.
Oh, did he finally?
Yeah, they took care of that.
Well, he didn't have a contract for
For like a month.
yeah.
But they re-signed him and his family, basically.
hmm
We could talk about that before we go to Dynamite. But anyway, Matt Cardona, his deal, I don't remember where he debuted at. It wasn't a pay-per-view.
It was right after the pay-per-view.
Or right before.
It was right after. No, because when they did the pay-per-view match, it's like, why is it Matt Cardona wrestling? Why is it randomly Scorpio Sky or whoever it was?
So Cardona, but his deal expired at the pay-per-view. What was the last one they just did?
All Out.
No, his contract expired at All Out, and they hadn't come to any terms. And then, of course, Cody was gone for 5 weeks. So without Cody there, probably to talk Tony Khan into it,
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Or maybe he was just waiting to read.
because he said that from the report that I heard was that Cardona wants to come back and he wants to get a contract with them because he said he needs to be there for more than a couple of appearances and a couple of T-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
So at least he's got some money coming from
Right.
T-shirt sales.
They need to. He actually needs to wrestle.
Yeah,
He didn't have one match.
yeah, he did.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he had one match. I'm sorry.
He had two matches. He had a singles match and he had a tag match. Him and Cody tagged.
Oh, I did not see him and Cody tag.
It was on Dynamite, I'm sure.
I don't remember seeing that.
But okay, he came out and jumped in. It was a jump in on a beatdown that led to the tag match, and then I think he had one singles match.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like it, and he gone. I mean, hopefully
But
he comes
he'll
back.
be back. They're just renegotiating the
Yeah,
contract.
because in the months preceding during Black Wednesday on at the Evil Empire, they let everybody go. They had already said Cody had already said if they could get one dude for sure, he wanted Cardona. Jericho kind of agreed with them on it, and they made it happen. So I don't think they're going to let him go. I mean, his debut was kind of lackluster. The tag match kind of sucked,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he's still got it in him to do it. And he's cut some good promos.
Right.
Remember, it was who did he cut the promo on? Oh, you've been held back. Well, join
Brody
the club.
Lee.
Yeah, Brody Lee cut that promo on Brody Lee. It was really good. We're going to go on to the main program, which was, for us, was last night. Dynamite first.
Depending on when you're watching this.
Well, for us, last night, September 30th. Opening match was Ricky Starks against Darby Allin.
Oh yeah, that's right. That did open the show.
Mm-hmm.
That was really good, and I'm not sure. Maybe it was from the suplex to the outside, but Ricky got his back hurt somehow.
Yeah.
And so either it was legit hurt or he was selling the crap out of it very well. Except I could see it on his face.
Well,
Here's
the thing too. In the Evil Empire, the best seller hands down was Rusev.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about that every week or every time that we watched it.
Right.
That Rusev could sell the crap out of an injury. He looked and he made you believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else over there, it's like, yeah, you can go, nah. Because 2 minutes later, if they're bum leg, now they can run at full speed and kick somebody.
Right.
Over here, what we perceive to be legit injury, maybe it's not, but it damn sure looks like it to us. And we kind of think we can see where an injury is legit and not. We're really trying to look at it with we don't want to destroy the whole illusion of the match. But now that we know a little bit about backstage stuff, it's like, oh, he's really hurt. Ooh, like we know for sure Kingston was hurt,
Mm-hmm.
and we know for sure
Matt Hardy.
Matt Hardy, and I was thinking of Miro.
Mm-hmm.
They all came out and they've been hurt, legit hurt, but then they work it in the storyline, so it saves the kayfabe on it.
Yeah, Ricky Starks looked like he really got his back.
He really looked like his back was tweaked out, and it was a good match. It went back and forth. Darby Allin, always looks good. He had a weird promo where he was still in the body bag with the tacks,
and
he went down like a ski slope or something. I don't even know what that was. A wooden slide. I don't know who that
some
guy
kind
was.
Me neither. It's some kind of skateboard ramp, I'm guessing.
Yeah, because the body bag was on top of the skateboard when they sent it down. I don't know who that guy was. A rapper?
I would assume it's a skateboarder, but the only famous skateboarder I even heard of is Tony Hawk. So.
Which has been in a Darby video.
Yeah.
When he did the backflip and landed on the skateboard.
Mm-hmm.
Remember? But then, Starks and Darby Allin is a good match. It's continuing a feud.
Mm-hmm.
But then shenanigans ensued when Brian Cage made his way through the tunnel.
He was going to come down to stop.
He was going to come and interfere. Darby had his hands out and he was like watching him intently, and all of a sudden, Will Hobbs, Willpower, shows up and attacks Brian Cage, which, if that's a feud, to quote lukewarm Luke Owen, Yes, please.
Hmm.
What do you think?
I think it's all right. I don't see anything wrong with that. I feel Brian Cage and Will Hobbs can go.
I want to see that. Definitely. Definitely. And what did Ollie say? That's one for Vince's Bank Bank.
Yeah, pretty much.
Two big old, oily, greasy, muscly dudes going after it.
Hmm.
Yep. I was good. And then
And Darby Allin won.
he did pick up the win.
He did a coffin drop.
On the bad back.
Hmm.
It was like the
Although, except
small of his back. I
what
guess.
makes me think that Starks' back was actually hurt because I feel that that spot was planned that he was going to do the coffin drop and win. Except like didn't leave his whole back, like he wasn't laying completely flat. He was like kind of
Like he
sideways.
was going to turn
Yeah, like here,
to
land on
take
my
the
side,
yeah,
not on my full back.
but he landed on his back anyway. And plus, you noted that Darby had or Starks had a moment when the camera was on him, and he was like
Hmm.
he swore.
Yeah, you can see him mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
like
I think he
whoa.
was legit hurt.
Yeah, but Darby Allin won, which is cool. So that's gonna bleed over into another week. Starks against Darby Allin
Probably going
to
to full
Full
gear.
Gear.
Well, full gear's still like no, that's 5 weeks. It could, it
I
could,
mean, Jericho and Cassidy was 14 weeks.
yeah,
I'll take
it could.
their stories end decisively at pay-per-views.
Yeah,
Because you get defeated at a pay-per-view and it's over.
yeah. Then we got the Cody returns segment or the second Cody
Oh yeah, yeah.
segment. So he came. Did we mention he came back? We probably did. But he came back, Cody's, and because last week he came back, and then Brody went off on him, and then did the dog collar challenge,
Hmm.
uh, and asked, "Do you accept?" And so he was being interviewed with Dasha, and it was funny that he mentioned that Dasha was you're a wrestler. She's like not very good, but yeah. And I forgot that she was entered in the women's tag tourney. I forgot who her partner was.
I couldn't tell you.
So Dasha Garcia
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez was interviewing Cody, and Cody said, "Yeah, he'll." I mean, he said no,
Event.
but and then he left, and he came back, said no regrets, no checking
Whatever.
out, no running away, no hiding. Yes, dog collar match is set for next week, but that brought out Brody Lee in the Dark Order,
And it started a
and it
brawl.
started an awesome brawl. This was
Yeah.
a pay-per-view level brawl
And then there
because
were
the
people.
Dark Order came, attacked Cody. Uh, Officials came, and then plus other wrestlers off the Faces roster
Hmm.
came running out, which brought out more heels off the roster that were they started jumping the railings.
Yeah, I was like, so
It was like, what the hell?
people were brawling that weren't even involved in the storyline.
Yeah, um, they were okay. It was the Dark Order had Cody, and he
Yeah,
had just gotten back in the ring. All of a sudden, here you see Brandy running across. She gets on the top turnbuckle and whoop, takes out the Dark Order,
yeah. Which
which brings out Anna Jay to choke her out.
which brings
Which brought who jumped the rails? Um, Kenzie Page and uh, somebody else
yeah,
that were on the heel side cheering section. They jumped the rails, and then Kylan King.
yeah.
Because then they make their way over to the other side, and all of a sudden Nyla Rose reaches over and grabs Kylie King and slams her to the ground,
Hmm.
and then jumps the rail and starts beating on her. And we're like, what the hell's going
Yeah.
on here? People are brawling. They even pulled apart. Now it became a pull apart segment in the ring with Cody over here and Brody over here. Cody and Brody
Hmm.
sounds like a sitcom, but
Don't give him ideas.
they pull them apart. Yet the other people were still feuding or
Yeah,
still
still
brawling.
brawling down on the
They
apron.
weren't even involved.
And the Dark Order was holding back Brody, while the Faces were holding
Holding
back
back
Cody.
Cody.
There's something in my eye.
And then like when that always happens, one guy says blah blah blah, and then this guy's like and busts free, and goes over there and whips him, and then gets pulled back. Now this guy he busts free, but then but then Brody even left.
Yeah,
He got out of the ring and he took a couple of guys. He took the main Dark Order with him, went down the tunnel, and people were still damn brawling. They still couldn't figure out what was going on. All of a sudden, Brody Lee comes back
Yeah.
and jumps back in and starts going after Cody again.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still brawling
Right.
everywhere. And then he pulled him off. Right, they pulled him off. They separated him. It was another jump back, and then Brody left again. And did he come back a second time?
No, he finally left.
I think they finally got rid of him. And I think that by then they went to commercial and everything was cleared up by then.
Mm-hmm.
But they set up some cool. If those brawls did anything, they might have set up some upcoming feuds.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Nyla Rose and Kylie King. Pretty sure. Which, sure, I'll go see that. They got nothing else going on in women's division because the ones that are going to push are still out with injury or COVID. I think Abaddon's isolated. We know that Statlander, she's probably healed, but they're saving her. Maybe she's going to come back at full gear.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Statlander to return.
There's a couple other. Now Baker has come back. We'll get to that because it was the second to the last match. But anyway, and that was just a segment.
That is something in my eye. Yeah.
That was just a segment. It wasn't even a match. And that took up about 10 minutes. And then we got SCU versus FTR.
Mm-hmm.
Now the backstage, and that was messed up. The backstage segment was Shivani was interviewing FTR, and they went ahead and put down every tag team, but put over SCU. And then, was it Nick? Nick Jackson showed up and super kicked Shivani. Yeah, it's messed up. But they've also done it to a ref, to who else? They've done it to more than just
like another backstage interviewer guy.
Marvez. Did they super kick Marvez? Yeah. So the next stop is they're going to try to kick Tony Khan.
Yeah.
And Tony Khan will fire their ass.
Well, that's an interesting thing though. Is FTR, they're still heels, so they didn't help Shivani. They were just like, "Hey, we're right here. You could have fought us. Like you could have kicked us." But like Shivani's just knocked out.
Yeah, they didn't like go to him and, "Hey, are you okay?" and help him up or anything. They just got and said, "Hey, we're right here. Why did you do it to us?" And this was the SCU of, like we've previously talked about, Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian.
Mm-hmm.
Daniels is left out again. But on the way, now they talked to them near Gorilla, and then as they made their way to the Gorilla to go through the curtains, who's standing there?
Sean Spears, who sarcastically wishes them
good luck to.
Good luck.
Well, it was specifically he said good luck to Sky because Kazarian had already went through the curtain, and he's just like and Scorpio Sky stopped and looked at it. He's all good luck, like continuing the psychological warfare. And it's a feud. I'm down with that.
Right, eventually it will be a feud.
You know who I haven't seen? Pineapple Pete.
Oh,
he hasn't wrestled in a while, and he hasn't been out on the. Maybe he's got COVID, or he's in the isolation. And and then Isaiah Cassidy and Jericho happened, which was.
Okay, hold on, I got something. Okay. Sorry about that. I had something in my eye. It was really bothering me.
Also, okay, so we were talking about Isaiah Cassidy against Jericho. Now here's that example of Jericho working with these guys to get him to the next level. He's already done it for Cassidy. I mean, in fairness, Cassidy was so over. He didn't need the push, but I guess to make it look official to the company, because Jericho is, although he's not an executive vice president, he still very much helps run what's going on there, helps the guys out. So he got Cassidy over. Now who's the next guy? Who can we work with to get him up to bump him up to the next level? I don't think that means Private Party is going to break up, but it's like now when you see Private Party comes out, you go, "Oh, that's that dude."
Yeah, that did the program with Jericho.
Yeah, they did that program with Jericho, and Jericho, of course, picked up the win because he's going to win, and he got a Judas elbow in the air.
Yeah,
Cassidy was coming off the turnbuckle.
Off a springboard. Cassidy was going for probably another springboard stunner, and caught the Judas effect.
Caught it right upside the head. So, but that was a great match. Jericho can make. See, there's the difference. What I was talking about was Jericho was on that level, and Cassidy is pretty close. So even though we know Cassidy is a good wrestler, Jericho made him look better by working with him. Whereas Alex Gracia and what did I say, Red Velvet, was it?
No, it was Penelope Ford.
Yeah, Penelope Ford. Yeah. So Alex Gracia didn't know how to help because she's the vet. I think. I think she's because Penelope Ford wrestled like 2 years, something like that. So Gracia, I think, was a veteran in that, and they couldn't quite connect. Some of their transitions are really clunky. Which remember that happened when they first got Styles.
Yeah.
Who did they put? They put Styles together with Jericho.
Yeah.
And their first couple of matches were wonky, but then they formed what were they called?
Y2AJ.
Yeah, Y2AJ was their tag team, which I don't know whose idea it was, but anyway, so Jericho picked up the win on Isaiah Cassidy, but Cassidy looked like his skill level went up at least a couple of notches in that match. Do you think?
Yeah, and I think they're gonna. I would say that they're gonna drag it out, but Jericho is like, I want to do tag team, so
Yeah, him and Hager haphazardly formed a tag team, but only had one match so far. Then a singles match.
Two.
And they had two?
Two tag matches and then one singles.
Yeah. And then we got another Cassidy. Orange Cassidy against 10. I'm not sure. That seems kind of random.
It is super random because why is he feuding with the Dark Order?
And why is Preston Vance just all of a sudden bust out of his tag team who just wrestled previous night?
Right.
To wrestle a singles match. He was a football guy that lost, career got cut short by a ACL, and he was wearing a knee brace. I don't know how long ago he's had that injury, but he was wearing a knee brace. But 10 is supposed to be the dominant big guy until Brody Lee showed up. Well, right. Brody Lee's the one that picked him though. But I mean, he's the dominant big guy. He's big and he's shredded. He looks good. He's got the mask and everything. Now he's kind of like second fiddle to Brody, I think, as far as being the big dude of the Dark Order. But Orange Cassidy's got a rocket strapped to his butt, so Cassidy picked up the win, which we didn't. We knew that was,
right. Yeah,
it wasn't going to be an upset there
because that was I mean, for me, because again, I like Orange Cassidy, so I want him to win. But 10 is part of the Dark Order, so I want him to win.
And Cassidy's move is the Orange Punch, which I've never had Orange Punch. Have you?
I don't want. Oh, you mean like the actual drink?
Yeah.
I was like, no, I don't want.
How'd you like a nice Hawaiian punch? Sure.
Well, I think that's the joke.
Yeah.
Then
we got the MJF backstage segment.
Oh yeah.
When was the last time MJF wrestled? He did have that squash match
against Shug D.
And Shug D.
Oh, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, maybe?
3 weeks ago.
So, I don't know what they're doing there. But this was another almost comedy gimmick backstage segment, with MJF and Jericho.
The entire Inner Circle.
Yeah, and now MJF on a promo, it was after that squash match, said, seems like the only way to get ahead is you have to have a faction. So he didn't know if he was going to form one or join one or whatever. And they went, which totally lost, it was totally out of my recollection that Jericho did ask him, remember? And they had that back and forth comedy thing.
Yeah.
Do you want to join Order? Do you want me to join Order? And they revisited it. And it looks, I don't know. Now, I don't remember, it might have been on Wrestle Talk. They said, is he trying to join the Dark or the Inner Circle to take it over? Because they're both alphas.
Right.
So is MJF want to join the Inner Circle but become its new leader?
Kick out Jericho.
Kick Jericho out. What do you think about that?
That would be interesting if he could accomplish that. Because he would have Wardlow, but also Wardlow and Hager.
Well, actually, they'd be a better tag team than Jericho and Hager, I think.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And they left it to where we don't know what's coming because they were calling each other losers before, but then when it was Santana,
No,
no,
Sammy.
Sammy was like, "Oh, don't listen to him. He's a loser." And then Jericho's like, "Oh, maybe he's not." Takes a drink of his champagne, and they're
Hmm.
kind of stunned, looking at him like, "What?" And they left it off like good cliffhanger, like they should.
Hmm.
Uh, Dude, we don't say that. We do say this all the time, and we're gonna say it again. Tony Khan, boom, he's doing such a good job on storylines and continuity.
Hmm.
It's really cool. Uh, and the return, in-ring return of Britt Baker ever since the Tooth and Nail, which was last pay-per-view.
Yeah, I also called that. I was like, oh, we haven't seen Brit in a while. Oh, here she comes.
Yeah,
Now, what I
and
thought was interesting is that she was ranked number 5, and she hasn't wrestled in like,
since the pay-per-view, 5 months. I
yeah,
mean,
since
from
her injury.
from her injury to the Tooth and Nail was 5 months, and then she hasn't wrestled again since then,
Yeah.
which was All Out was in what, August
Uh,
beginning,
yeah, like the beginning of August?
was it?
Think so.
And then here we are,
Sept- Towards the end of
September,
September.
and she finally did her. But they did say that she wasn't 100% at Tooth and Nail. She just wanted to do it so bad.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying that she was in the top 5. I mean, she was the
Right.
fifth slot, but she was number 5, and she had literally hadn't wrestled for months.
But what women's matches have they had with anybody ranked? They haven't. I don't. Is Diamante ranked?
I assume so.
You've got the information.
I can look.
As yeah. But anyway, Britt Baker and Reba showed up, and you know who she was against?
Red Velvet.
Straight out your Obama's kitchen, stirring it up. Red Velvet, who jumped from dark to the main roster, had a good showing. It wasn't a squash. It wasn't a dominant squash. It was still and it wasn't a 10-minute match. Remember that too. All the matches were going long.
Mm-hmm.
They were like 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, so the women's ranking right now is Nyla Rose at number 1, Big Swole at number 2, Penelope Ford at 3, Abaddon at 4, and Britt Baker at 5. This was updated 9 hours ago.
So, okay, wait, bring it back. Okay, since All Out, the only one that's wrestled is Penelope Ford
Mm-hmm.
until Britt Baker returned. So, and then like we said, we think Abaddon's in isolation. Nyla did have a match recently. It
Mm-hmm.
was a squash, and now she's going to feud with Kylan King possibly. And so, yeah,
Well, they don't have a separate ranking for the TNT title. It's Archer, Cage, MJF, Cody, and Scorpio Sky,
okay.
but they're all in line for the same title.
Uh, Red Velvet did have a good showing against Britt Baker. It was cool. And then we got this great, great, great segment continuing Mox and Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston got his title shot last week, which they cleaned up. He never was eliminated, so they were able to. We didn't know what they were going to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
It happened. It was a fluke. It wasn't supposed to happen. Kingston didn't get eliminated from the Battle Royal, but they gave the win to Cage Archer, and so he kept bringing it up, and so they had to figure out what to do, and then all of a sudden, somebody got injured.
No, it was
They had to kill
Archer.
the 6-man tag.
Archer came into contact with somebody who had COVID,
Oh,
so they had
yeah.
to quarantine him.
So they had to quarantine everybody. So that left this great opportunity where they go ahead and, okay, here's your title shot, Kingston, and he lost. And again, this was a controversial loss because he was in that choke
Mm-hmm.
that Moxley had him in, but he didn't tap out
Or say I quit.
or quit. And now and so he brought out Bryce Rumsford, Bryce Rimsford, whatever this ref is,
Rimsburg.
and said
Something
like
like that.
they've known him for like 18 years. He's a good buddy of his, type of thing. But he was like intimidatingly holding him, and
Mm-hmm.
dude, Kingston is so good on the mic. He is so good on the mic, and he was like, "Hey, I didn't tap," and then Rimsford was like, "Hey, you were unresponsive," but they didn't do the three.
Right. Well, they only do it once over there, but they still didn't do it.
No, he didn't. He just kind of checked him and then rang the bell. So Kingston was like pissed again. He's like, he feeling he's getting short, the short end of the stick as
Mm-hmm.
far as legit matches here, which he kind of has an argument for it. And he's so good on the mic, he can make you believe
Mm-hmm.
that there is an argument for it. And so he didn't lose that match, really, technically.
No, not technically.
And so as a consolation third, Tony Khan told him he could pick Moxley's opponent to go for the title, which brought he didn't really talk down Mox, did he?
No, not
But
really.
he came out. Mox, because
He was gonna beat
they were gonna
down.
put the beat down on the
On the
ref,
ref.
and that's what brought Moxley out, and that got another mini melee going on because Penta and Phoenix and Butcher and Blade were all there
Well, no, Blade wasn't there, and Butcher appeared behind, or he snuck into the ring.
because that's who
Eddie
Eddie
chose
Kingston chose to be his opponent was Butcher on his own, looking cool with the white jeans, no shirt, but
the apron.
the Butcher's apron on, but it was black. It should have been
Mhm.
white, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, it looked fine to
And
me.
a good match, and that's the first time that Butcher and Blade have split up since they debuted.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Butcher looked good. It wasn't a squash by any means. Matter of fact, he looked like he was hurting
He
Mox.
was, yeah,
He was
he
going after that leg.
worked over Mox pretty well, which leads me to believe while Mox did win this time against Butcher, I think there's an Archer gonna win next week. I think with his leg messed up like that, I don't know if it'll be a Cody Brody situation,
I don't think so.
but I think Archer's gonna. I'm thinking Archer's gonna win. He's gonna target the hell out of that leg.
And I think we've talked about it before. Um, Archer is the guy to take the strap off of him, so then we
Hmm.
can go Archer Cage.
Right, because that's the.
And then look now, Archer Cage. They're
Mhm.
possibly Cage is going to drop the FTW strap to Will Hobbs,
Maybe,
right? And
possibly.
it fits in. It fits in the narrative right there. Ooh, because Tony Khan did say they were going to make the Taz's FTW title a legit title, and now it is
Hmm.
because he's putting it up against Hobbs. And I tell you what, Hobbs is going to take it, and then Cage is going to take. I'm going to make my prediction. Uh, Archer's going to take the strap from Mox.
Hmm.
Cage is going to take the strap from Archer, and that's why he's going to drop the FTW title to Will Hobbs.
Hmm.
And we all live happily ever after.
Possibly.
What
We'll
do you
see.
think?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. Because I didn't remember that it was Will Hobbs going against Cage for the FTW title.
Yeah, because he came out and
Right. Yeah, I know. And then they announced that I thought it would because it was somebody else that I went like, wait, really? He's not going to win. So that doesn't sound
I
like
think
it
it
would
was
be.
from a different match.
Maybe.
That closed off the show was and Kingston. Man, I'm telling you what, and he only had a towel in it. It was, is he going to throw it in? Is he going to? Even Taz was like, "Oh, that's giving me flashbacks."
Hmm.
When he had to throw in the towel for
Brian Cage.
Brian Cage because he had him in there. Yeah. But I wanted to go back because I missed a couple of things on Dark, so we have some time. I was talking about how good Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. were
Hmm.
as a tag team. Well, I forgot to say they went against Chaos Project, which is Dr. Luther and Serpentico,
Hmm.
who have formed a team and who are now, since they formed a team, they're undefeated. I think 2 matches.
Mm-hmm.
We like Chaos Project. I like them as a team. What do you think?
They're not bad. It's a weird pairing,
That's what everybody says
but
too.
if they're working
But
together,
it's
they're
working.
working.
There's so many of them are weird pairings, though. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And then we talked about Ty Conti and Red Velvet. Remember, Anna Jay came out to celebrate with her, and
Mm-hmm.
then started beating down Red Velvet,
Okay.
and was trying to get Ty Conti to join her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, no, look, it's fine. Here, we're heels. We beat down people. Kind
Right.
of like what they're doing with Colt Cabana
Cabana. Yeah.
here. And Colt Cabana like gets shocked and was like, oh, hey, oh,
Right.
I don't know if I want to do that. And then he eventually does.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of gets off on it because his expression
Well,
changes.
phrasing, but
Yeah,
he gets into it.
sure. Well, phrasing there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they're doing the
Less.
same thing with Anna Jay and Ty Conti, trying to get her motivated about, no, this is how we operate in the Dark Order. We
Mm-hmm.
beat down after the match is over with. So I forgot to mention that earlier. And then also during the Jericho and Cassidy match, remember it spilled out to the outside, and
Mm-hmm.
then Jericho got flipped over,
Yeah, he did a.
flipped. He got tossed over the guardrail somehow,
Mm-hmm.
and he landed on
Luther.
Luther, and Luther kind of like halfway caught him and then let him go. And he was just kind of like, I don't know what to do right here. I'm not sure if I was supposed to be part of this segment. Is
Mm-hmm.
this a segment or not? And then all of a sudden, when Jericho got back on the other side of the guardrail, he turned around and popped Luther right in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And then it broke out where he's Luther like jumped the rails
Mm-hmm.
and said, "Okay, it's on." And then so that brought Hager down, started feuding with Serpentico. Serpentico came over the railing,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden that went, and I was
Yeah,
like,
because I didn't understand why that wasn't a DQ of Luther hitting Jericho. Like he like full on like
or
Aubrey Edwards could have seen it.
or even Jericho hitting Luther in the first place
Yeah.
should have been a you can't be turning around and starting yourself another match
Right.
basically.
So that
And
was.
then and that led to Chaos Project versus Hager and Jericho next week,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm good with that. When they brought Luther in as part of the Nightmare Collective,
Mm-hmm.
he kind of looked like a George the Animal. Oh, you're too young to know George the Animal Steele is. Older viewers like myself know who he is. He just like, oh, he's this weird dude. They said he's king of the Japanese death match. We don't know anything about him.
Mm-hmm.
He must have come from New Japan. We didn't know anything. And then they dropped the Nightmare Collective
Mm-hmm.
angle because uh, uh, Awesome Kong had to go back to Glow and the TV show. And who else? And then it was Melanie Cruz and Brandy, and that just all fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
And so like Luther gets relegated to Dark, but he doesn't do anything. He loses, and it was just like, what do we do with this guy? Apparently he has respect. He has mad
Mm-hmm.
respect because of his record in New Japan or wherever he wrestled, and he's a deathmatch guy, which from Arquette how
Mm-hmm.
bad a deathmatch can be.
Right.
So he's legit, but they didn't know what to do with him. Serpentico is a luchador guy, and him too. They weren't doing much with him. He lost a couple of matches. He was there to didn't Starks wrestle him? I think Starks wrestled like his first match was against Serpentico.
Maybe I don't
I
remember.
think Starks even said that. But like again, it's another guy who's cool. His streamer's gimmick. What do you think about that?
I think it was funny when they threw it into the face of whoever they were wrestling.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got somehow he has streamers that come out of his palms of his hands. Now it's funny because Taz told him like they're surgically implanted like Spider-Man,
Yeah.
and then Stark's like, "Hey, you lied to me because I found out how he does it." And then he, who did they? Oh, it was against Hager and no, who did they do? Grr, confusing. Trying to keep track of all this stuff. Oh, and it was Jericho because they threw him in his face, and then
Mm-hmm.
they were all like wrapped up in it. Remember?
Yeah.
And because it was spilled out from the ring into the ring, back out, and we get Hager and Jericho, which they don't have a name.
Nope.
What do you think? What would you name
I
them?
don't know. Let me fall asleep again.
What would you name them? Okay, so naming, because we got Les Sex Gods, which is Sammy and Jericho. And why did they split that team up? And now he's with Hager.
Well, because of some comments that Sammy made 4 years ago got him suspended.
Right, but I mean, he's back, so why did he why is they reform their tag team? And what would you call Hager and Jericho?
I don't know. You're gonna have to wake me up at 4 in the morning and ask me then, because I'll be half asleep, or I'll be half awake, and I can give you an answer.
Jake and Bake? I don't know.
No.
I don't know. That could
Got
be an interesting
nothing.
thing to ponder. And so anyway, Chaos Project is on a roll. Well, they didn't win their match, but well, because it's next week. But I mean, Chaos Project are 2-0, and boom, here they come to the main roster
Mm-hmm.
to go and see that. That's the thing I love about Dark is you get to see these guys. You don't know who they are when you watch it, and then all of a sudden they show up a couple of times. They take their lumps, but then maybe they do something that sparks an interest, and all of a sudden they go, "Hey, the championship committee, which I believe are the Bucks, Khan, Omega, and Jericho,
Mm-hmm.
put their heads together and say, I think we can work with these guys. I think they're ready."
Mm-hmm.
And they bring them up. And I mean, Luther is like 20 something years in the business. He's legend and he's legit. Serpentico's a new guy, but
Mm-hmm.
apparently they think that Luther can carry him
Mm-hmm.
and that they can get a good program out of it. I like it. I love to see these guys get their shot, and because you get people that don't understand how this works. Oh, these guys are nobodies. Nobody's ever heard of them. They suck. Like, no. They're getting their shot just like Megabyte Ronnie
Mm-hmm.
and Brian Cage.
And Megabyte Ronnie hasn't been around.
He had that one and done, but
Mm-hmm.
I think but that's only a week. That's only been a week.
Yeah.
Maybe he's under quarantine. But Megabyte Ronnie got his entire people's hot dog
Mm-hmm.
shtick in. Cage let him do it.
Right.
That was so awesome. Awesome. So I love Dark and I love Dynamite together. One leads to the other. And it's not the same as a call up from the Evil Empire
Mm-hmm.
because they just randomly gut their Wednesday night program. They just
Right.
came in and swoop up a bunch of them and move them to the main roster.
And then do nothing with them.
Yeah, bury them. This is you watch them for so many weeks. You see maybe this week they did a little bit better than last week. Let's wait. Here they come up with another loss, but they still looked good.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, maybe we can work with them. Let's bring them up and see what we can do, which I think is exactly what happens, and it's awesome. It's so awesome to watch. That's about the end of Dark and Dynamite for this week. We've got a couple of minutes. We want to let you know is we tried Stone Cold Steve Austin's beer.
Mm-hmm. If you haven't seen the...
Have you put it up?
Oh, no, I haven't. So you wouldn't have seen the latest vlog because it's not up yet.
But if you go to our YouTube channel, which is Eric Wolf Productions, um, did we put up the root beer challenge?
Yeah, the root beer challenge.
So the root beer challenge was with our partner from He Who Smelt It, Timothy Long, and his forging videos.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, is a little bit more consistent than we
Yeah, much more
are.
consistent.
He's been dropping episodes left and right. So if you're interested in any kind of forging or blacksmithing, he's made like rings. He's made knives, swords, and then he's also like working on friends of his stuff, like polishing it up, making it better.
Mm-hmm.
He also, I was going to say, is uh, he's working from scraps. We just gave him an aluminum chair or a steel. We gave him the steel chair. No, we
Yeah,
we physically handed him a old folding chair, and he's going to make something out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got some other pieces of scrap metal that work. Didn't we give him a bike?
Yeah, I gave him a bike.
We gave him a bicycle to see what he could do with. Has he done anything?
He's made a couple things out of the bike. I don't remember exactly what.
So you can check him out on our sister channel through Eric Wolf Productions. We've got so that was the Great Root Beer Challenge vlog. Was it a vlog? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
We've also got the great Let's Try Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull IPA. The results were interesting, so we'll be putting that up real quick. Something that we're going to do on Wrestle, Wanna Wrestle 7 is we're big fans of this cult classic. I guess it's a cult classic.
probably.
To some people, I guess it is. It was the WCW movie Ready to Rumble, and it starred Oliver Platt as a fictional wrestler named Jimmy King,
Hmm.
and it was Joey Pantoliano was something Sinclair, John Sinclair, Rick
Titus Sinclair.
Titus Sinclair, which he was the head of WCW. So I'm guessing that he was supposed to be a take on Vince Russo at the time, because he wasn't Bischoff. We had all. It came out in 2000, so all the 2000 era roster was involved. We had Sid Vicious, we had Perry Saturn, we had Sting, we had Diamond Dallas Page, we had Goldberg, we had who else? There's a bunch of them in there, right?
Hmm.
Was Macho Man in there?
Yeah, he was in a dream sequence fight.
Yeah. So there's all the 1999, 2000 era WCW guys. David Arquette, who's gone on to be a wrestler, who
Hmm.
won the title and didn't want to win the title in WCW as part of promotion for the movie, ruined his life.
Hmm.
Scott Conn, son of the legendary actor James Conn. Was it Rose McGowan? Rose McGowan was Sasha,
I think so.
and she at that around that time is when she started dating Marilyn Manson.
Hmm.
Great soundtrack that we listen to on a almost daily basis.
Hmm.
And so we got this idea today while we were on a Costco run
Yeah.
that we want to recast the Ready to Rumble movie and make the same movie. We're going to reboot it, so we're not making a sequel, but we're going to tell you we're going to take the main characters and recast them with current AEW wrestlers,
Hmm.
because a lot of AEW, Tony Khan's mindset is he's basing it off of WCW from back then.
And we don't really have to change the announcers too much because Tony Schiavone was one of the
Was
announcers.
the announcer in the movie,
Yeah.
and he's currently working for AEW. And then Iron Mike Tenay, if we could find him, I guess they could use him. Other than that, or do we replace him with Taz?
No, not with Taz, with Excalibur.
And so, and we were running the recasting today, but you don't feel confident enough.
I don't feel it's not finalized yet.
So we're gonna watch the movie again, and then we're gonna write it all out. We'll write out who plays who, and because there was some secondary characters, like the dad,
Gordy's dad.
Which, I mean, if we still use David Arquette as Gordy, or do we recast those guys?
Oh, we probably recast those guys.
But David Arquette, on a side note, so 20 years ago, promoting this movie, they put him in WCW, and they gave him the title, the world title. He took it from Jeff Jarrett, and it pissed off everybody. And now it's funny because now it would be it would work.
Right.
It would work because of the way the business has evolved. You could see it. Because even back then, now he didn't win a title, but Toby Keith got involved in a match on WCW, and he gave a standing vertical to Jeff Jarrett, and it looked good because Toby Keith's a big dude. And there's no stranger to wrestlers getting involved. How about we just watched Real Steel? Who was it?
It was
Hugh Jackman got involved when he was promoting Real Steel, and he clotheslined Ziggles.
Yeah,
that looked good. There was one where Vince McMahon gave a special belt to Schwarzenegger. It was called the World Box Office Champion, and Triple H got mad, and Schwarzenegger beat the crap out of Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
So, celebrities in wrestling, it works. But for some reason, but has Scream come out yet?
You mean in 2000?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the original Scream was in 90,
9, 8?
somewhere around
So, because I
6
think
or
that's
5
what they
maybe.
viewed him as Dewey,
Right.
right? So he was Sheriff Dewey. Why is
Well,
he
he
got
wasn't
the?
even a sheriff
Why is
in the
he got?
first.
It's a deputy.
Yeah, because like his character evolves throughout the Scream movies till he does become sheriff. But I think he's
A
a
deputy
deputy
or a,
deputy in the first movie.
so they thought, who is this guy? Why is he here? Why is Dewey from Scream going to be the world champion? And it just a backlash like you ain't never seen in wrestling before. Everybody was pissed, and he wasn't even sure what. But he explained in this Van Vliet interview recently. We give a shout out to Chris Van Vliet, great interviewer. Sometimes Alicia too, and Wrestle Talk, where we get our main information from.
Mm-hmm.
If we're not watching, or when we even when we watch. Anyway, in the Van Vliet interview, Arquette was like, he didn't want the title. He was like, no, that's dumb. Why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
And like, well, we're promoting you and promoting the movie, so you're going to take the title from Jared. And he's like, no, people are not going to like that. And so then he really was adamant that he didn't want to do it. But then Vince Russo was in charge, and everybody hates Russo. If you watch any
Mm-hmm.
wrestling things, everybody hates Russo. Russo was like, okay, well, here's the thing: you can do it, take the title, and then we're gonna for the next 3 weeks, you're gonna go with us everywhere. You're gonna go to Europe. You're gonna go to Japan. We're
Mm-hmm.
promoting you, and we're promoting the movie, and you get to hang out with all the wrestlers,
Mm-hmm.
or we won't promote your movie. So our cat was like, okay, so yes, I'll do this. And then he was talking about being on a flight. I don't know where they were going, and he's reading a book, and then like Sting like comes over this, hey, what you reading?
Mm-hmm.
He was just like freaked out, like, oh my God, Sting's talking to me, Sting's asking me
Mm-hmm.
questions, and he was sitting next to. Was he sitting next to? I think he was sitting next to Macho Man
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of other wrestlers. So he's having the time of his life, thinking, the belt was kind of like an afterthought, but
Mm-hmm.
I've got the belt and I'm going everywhere with all my wrestling heroes. This is great.
Mm-hmm.
Not realizing that the entire wrestling universe is like, you don't deserve that title. You're making a mockery of it. It's bad for business.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the last 20 years, this has weighed on this man. And there's the documentary is called "You Can't Kill David Arquette."
Mm-hmm.
He legit started wrestling. He had a heart attack a couple of years ago. He had a heart attack, and while he was in the hospital, since he survived, and he got stents put in. He's like, you know what? I think I really want to do this. I think I really want to wrestle. I need to erase this bad
Mm-hmm.
event because it has weighed on him. Can you imagine something some mistake you made? It's in your brain for 20 years.
Well, when it's public like that and everybody hates it, yeah.
So 20 years he's had to deal with this. So he
I was 6 or 4 at the time, so it didn't really bother me.
and so anyway, he's gone out and he has started wrestling on the indies as a legit wrestler. He first started throwing out videos, and people still thought it was a joke. I didn't know what to think. One, I didn't know he had so many tattoos,
Yeah, me neither.
and two, why is he doing this? What is going on? Oh, he's a serious wrestler. Yeah, right. This is a prank.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out that he went on the indie circuit. We did see a match where
He took on
he,
Colt
he
Cabana.
beat Colt Cabana. And we're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and Cabanas has said it. He's he's a good wrestler. He's got no problem losing to him
Mm-hmm.
because he was legit, knew what he was doing. So Arquette has gone around for the last couple of years. I think he's done with it now because now that the documentary is done, well, quarantine happened, so he's been sitting around. I think Van Vliet asked him if he was still taking any bookings, and he said no, that he thinks it's over with. So I guess if you go watch the doc, then you get to see his whole journey, and that closes that chapter off. I think maybe he still likes wrestling enough that he wants to get out and do it. But he had this crazy death match. Somebody signed him up for a death match. He said, okay. He thought that just meant hardcore, and he got his neck punctured. And Van Vliet says, "So you got your was it your
It's the
carotid?
well, yeah,
your carotid.
jugular.
Yeah, you got your jugular punctured." And he's like, "No, no, it was the neck muscle that got punctured." And he's holding it, and blood's just gushing out everywhere. And he left the match. He got out of the ring, and he started to walk away. Luke Perry was there, and he said, "Hey, Luke, is it bad? How bad is it?" And Luke Perry said, "It doesn't look that bad." And he took his hand away. He said, "Is it pumping or is it spurting?" And Luke Perry's like, "No." So he took it to mean, okay, his jugular isn't punctured, or else, because the blood flow going through your jugular goes with your heartbeat. So when your heart's beating, it's like it's going to squirt out like like if you watch any Asian
right
kung fu sword movie, samurais, when they cut them off, the blood just squirts out like a shower. So
it's when you sever any.
So he said, "Oh, okay." So he turned around and finished the match. Now I forgot who it was with. Was it Sammy Callahan?
I don't know. I did.
So yeah, crazy, and you get to see that entire thing. You probably come up with some mad respect for Arquette, but it's funny that he went from playing in a comedy movie about wrestling that we really love to being a legit wrestler at the end of this career journey for him. I don't think he's into producing and other stuff. I don't think he's are they making another Scream movie? Have you heard?
Scream 6? No, I haven't heard anything about it.
So, I think he's pretty much done in Hollywood, maybe. I don't know. Unless he probably is going to do some indie films. So anyway, we're going to recast Ready to Rumble. And also, for our upcoming premiere podcast number 18, you came across some news that we have to investigate, and then we'll cover it, which was about Tobey Maguire.
Oh yeah, that Tobey Maguire might be, or it's official, but we don't know how official, but that Tobey Maguire is reprising his role as Spider-Man for Doctor Strange,
Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah, Multiverse of Madness.
We don't, which is interesting because if it is, we've already heard, or there's already been stuff out about Flash big screen movie that was promised years ago when Justice League came out. And what's that guy's name?
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller, who's the big screen Flash, is going to they're doing a take on Crisis on Infinite Earths or
Flashpoint,
and that he's going to meet up with Michael Keaton as Batman. I think Christian Bale as Batman, and they were trying to get Ben Affleck. I'm not sure.
Right, and Grant Gustin is the guy that plays him on TV.
And he was going to meet up with the Grant Gustin Flash, the John Wesley Shipp TV Flash from the '90s. So he was going to do all this stuff, but it sounds like Marvel's going to beat him to it, because Tobey Maguire is going to appear as Spider-Man alongside of Tom Holland Spider-Man. To me, it's like, I don't know who had the idea first. That's a thing with DC and Marvel. You never know who had the idea first, but Marvel seems to be come out on top.
Right. Yeah, I think they're just better and faster at it.
Quicksilver, The Flash.
Right.
Submariner.
Well,
Aquaman.
You can look at the publication dates to see who debuted first. That doesn't mean you had the idea first.
Right. So it's and this sounds like DC's got a great idea. Marvel's going to one up it, and we're just going to do it this way. And so we'll be talking about that on Premiere Podcast 18 very, very soon, and we'll get that out for you guys. But that brings us to the end of our previews and the end of whatever else you can watch through the Eric Wolf Productions. We hope you guys are enjoying our videos. We really want to involve you guys. Oh, the current versus.
Oh, will be. Well, I forgot what it is.
Is it Funky Town?
No,
No,
we
we
already
already
did
did
that.
that. I put it up. What the hell is
I don't know. I know we chose it. Was it? Well, it was in honor of something.
Oh, yeah. Honor. Oh, wait.
Well, let's find out on episode 18.
Well, no. Find out now by going to our Facebook page because it's there, and you were going to post it on Instagram too.
Yeah, and I didn't do that because I don't know what it is.
I'm trying to think. It was in honor of something. Oh, Archer. It was in honor of
That's
Archer
right.
coming back. So it's Charlene with Kenny Loggins doing Danger Zone, and then the original Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins.
Charlene is a character on
On
Archer.
Archer, who was Outlaw Country. Woo!
Not anymore.
No, she got her brain back, and I don't know. But so anyway, Charlene versus Kenny Loggins is on our versus. You can find that on our Facebook page under Eric Wolf Productions, and you can vote. Which version do you like better? We're going to talk about both of them and give you guys our opinion on it. And I think that's all we got for you guys.
That's all.
That's all we got. And Daddy-o.
I'm a wolf, and we look forward to howling with you again next time.